Don't move, just listen. Focus your mind on that high-pitched ringing sound in your ear right now, or focus on that sudden, unexplained pressure at the base of your neck. Your doctor told you it is stress. Your family told you that you are just overthinking. They lied. What you are feeling right now is the physical symptom of a spiritual upgrade. You have accidentally unlocked the impossible frequency, a channel of divine intelligence that was supposed to remain sealed for this generation. You are holding a live wire of power that you do not know how to ground. That is why you are exhausted. That is why you are anxious. You were not led to this video to be entertained. You were led here because you are a walking antenna, picking up a signal that is about to overload your system unless you learn how to tune it. Right now, tonight. This ringing, this pressure, this electrical surge you feel when you wake up at 3 a.m. is not tinnitus, and it is not anxiety. It is raw data being downloaded into a vessel that hasn't been calibrated yet. And the danger is this: if you walk around with a live wire of spiritual voltage and you do not know where to plug it in, you will short-circuit your own life. You will manifest chaos instead of clarity. So I need you to stay with me until the very last second of this message, because by the end, I am going to hand you a protocol to stabilize this frequency. I am going to show you how to stop the burnout and start the broadcast. If you click away now, you are leaving with a loaded weapon in your spirit that you do not know how to aim. Do not do that to yourself. You have probably asked yourself why you are the only one feeling this. You sit at the dinner table with your family, or you walk through your office and you feel like you are vibrating at a different speed. You look at them and they seem fine, they seem calm, and you wonder, am I the broken one? Listen closely. You are not the broken radio. You are the only one in the room with a working receiver. The people around you, the ones you call family and friends, they are operating on analog technology. They are good people, but they are analog radios. They can only pick up the local stations, traffic, weather, news, drama. But you, chosen one, you are a digital antenna. You were built to pick up satellite signals from a different dimension. This is exactly what the Apostle John experienced. In Revelation chapter 1 verse 15, John describes the voice of the glorified Christ. Most people gloss over this, but look at what he actually said. He said his voice was as the sound of many waters. Now pause. Have you ever stood next to a massive waterfall? It does not sound like words. It does not sound like English or Hebrew. It sounds like a roar. It sounds like white noise. It sounds like pure frequency. John was hearing the raw, uncompressed file of God's voice. To an analog ear, it sounds like noise. But to a digital ear, like yours, it sounds like information. That ringing in your ear is not a defect. It is the sound of many waters trying to squeeze into a finite mind. You are exhausted because your spirit is trying to unzip a file that is too big for your current operating system. And you are wondering, why me? Why am I hearing this now? Why has the volume suddenly turned up to maximum in the last few months? Here is the truth that might scare you, but it will also set you free. You thought this sensitivity was a defense mechanism. You have spent your whole life thinking this spidey sense, this ability to feel the energy in a room, was given to you for protection. You thought it was a shield to keep you safe from bad people. That is the false summit. That is the lie you have been telling yourself to cope with the pain. This frequency is not a shield. It is a sword. It is not designed to warn you about danger. It is designed to change reality. I know the raw thoughts you have when you are alone. I know you have prayed, God, please, just make it stop. I just want to be normal. I just want to sleep without feeling the weight of the world. But then, in the same breath, you pray, God, give me more, use me, show me your glory. You are conflicted because you are trying to use a weapon of war as a security blanket. You are not a thermometer designed to just reflect the temperature of the room. You are a thermostat designed to change it. This frequency is the creation frequency. It is the same frequency God used to speak light into darkness, and the reason it feels so heavy right now is because you are containing it instead of releasing it. But there is an enemy, and he knows you have unlocked this frequency before you do. He knows that if you ever learn how to tune this dial, you will be unstoppable. You will be able to shift atmospheres, heal bodies, and download wealth strategies from the ether. He cannot take the key back. Once you are unlocked, you are unlocked. So, since he cannot steal the signal, he does the next best thing. He jams it. We call this spiritual jamming. Think about a war zone. When one army wants to stop the other from communicating with their commander, they do not steal their radios. They just blast loud, chaotic noise over the airwaves so that the soldiers cannot hear the orders. That is exactly what is happening to you. That drama that popped up at work yesterday, that unexpected bill that drained your savings, that argument with your spouse that came out of nowhere, that is not bad luck, that is jamming. That is the enemy blasting static noise to keep your brain stuck in the beta state. Beta state is survival mode. It is fight or flight. It is stress. It is the frequency of the matrix. As long as you are worried about the bills, as long as you are fighting fires in your relationships, your brain is locked in beta. And miracles do not happen in beta. Miracles happen in theta. Theta is the miracle state. It is the twilight state between sleep and awake. It is where the supernatural becomes natural. The enemy is terrified of you entering theta, so he keeps your life loud. He keeps you scrolling. He keeps you stressed. He keeps you jammed. The Bible gives us a masterclass on this in 1 Kings chapter 19. Elijah is depressed, anxious, and running for his life. He needs a word from God. And there is a great wind, but God is not in the wind. There is an earthquake, but God is not in the earthquake. There is a fire, but God is not in the fire. And then, verse 12 says, there was a still small voice. But the Hebrew word used there is profound. The word is dak, D-A-Q. It does not just mean quiet. It refers to something crushed, something thin, like a fine powder. It means a frequency so subtle, so fine, that if there is any other noise in the room, you will miss it. God was broadcasting on a frequency that required Elijah to tune out everything else. But here is the gap. You know this. You know you need to be still. You know you need to disconnect. So you try. You sit down to pray or meditate. You close your eyes. And what happens? Your phone pings. Your mind reminds you of that email you forgot to send. The dog barks. The static comes rushing back in. You try to fight the noise, but you are fighting flesh with flesh. And you fail. And you feel guilty. You feel like you are not spiritual enough. The problem is not your desire. The problem is your method. The mystics of old spent 40 years in caves to master the art of tuning out the jamming. They spent decades rewiring their brains to access that dark frequency at will. You do not have 40 years. The war is at your door today. The assignment is due now. You need a bridge. You need a way to bypass the struggle and lock your brain into the divine frequency immediately. But what if I told you that God provided a digital tuning fork, a way to force your brain out of the jamming and into the miracle zone in just 7 minutes? This is the secret the enemy does not want you to know, and it changes everything. NASA conducted a fascinating study that holds the key to your struggle. They discovered that 98% of children are born operating in the genius level of creative potential. In spiritual terms, this means they are born with their brains locked into the theta state. Theta is the frequency of the divine. It is the state where intuition flows, where healing happens, and where you hear the voice of God clearly. It is your factory setting. But as we grow up, the trauma of life, the school system, and the stress of survival push us out of theta and lock us into beta. Beta is the stress state. It is the jamming frequency I told you about. Most adults spend their entire lives stuck in beta, cut off from their own power. So the ringing in your ear, that pressure you feel, it is your spirit trying to break out of the beta cage and return to theta. But you cannot muscle your way back in. You cannot force a flower to open with a hammer. You need a key, and that key is sound entrainment. This is the digital tuning fork. It is a specific sound technology called the genius wave that gently guides your brain waves from the chaos of beta back into the divine flow of theta. This takes about 7 minutes a day. It is not magic. It is biology confirming theology. When the Apostle Paul wrote in Romans chapter 12 verse 2, he said, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." The Greek word for renewing implies a restoration to a former state. Paul was talking about neuroplasticity 2,000 years before neuroscience existed. He was telling us to physically rewire our brains back to the factory setting of God. This sound technology is just a tool to help you obey that command. It is not a hack, it is a reclamation. It is you taking back the territory the enemy stole from your mind. I have placed the research on this technology in the pinned comment below. If your spirit bears witness, investigate it. It might be the missing link you have been praying for. But right now, I need to address the shadow that just crept into your heart. Because the moment I offered you a solution, a part of you pulled back. You felt a flash of hesitation. That is not doubt. That is fear. And it is not the fear of failure. It is the fear of power. Deep down, you are asking yourself a terrifying question. If I actually unlock this, if I really become this powerful, will I be alone? If I start operating at this impossible frequency, will my family still recognize me? Will my friends still love me? Or will I leave them behind? I hear those raw thoughts. You are afraid that your elevation requires your isolation. And you are right. Eagles do not fly in flocks. But listen to me. You are not leaving your loved ones behind to abandon them. You are going ahead of them to prepare a place for them. You are breaking the generational curse so that they do not have to. Your healing is their healing. Your breakthrough is their breakthrough. Do not dare dim your light just to make others comfortable in their darkness. That is a betrayal of your assignment. So how do you maintain this frequency when you are not listening to the audio? How do you walk through a toxic workplace or a chaotic home without losing your signal? You need a protocol. I call this the static filter system or the 3-gate system. You must guard the 3 gates of your soul, your eyes, your ears, and your mouth. Here is your mission starting tomorrow. First, the gate of the eye. You will no longer consume violence or chaos in the first 30 minutes of your day. No news, no social media drama. Protect your theta state. Second, the gate of the ear. When you feel the jamming start, when the anxiety rises, do not just take it. Put on worship music or brown noise immediately. Drown out the static. Third, and most dangerous, the gate of the mouth. Stop agreeing with the jamming. When you say, "I am so stressed," or "I am so tired," you are using your own voice to lock yourself in the beta cage. Silence is better than a negative confession. Let me give you a micro action to anchor this. The next time you pick up your phone to scroll because you are anxious, I want you to physically flip the phone face down on the table. Take one deep breath. That is, you manually rejecting the jamming. That is, you choosing the signal over the noise. Does this actually work? Let me tell you about Sarah. That is not her real name, but she is a chosen one just like you. 8 months ago, she was hiding in her house, overwhelmed by everything. The lights were too bright, the noise was too loud. She thought she was having a breakdown. She started using the sound technology to reset her brain to theta every morning, and she applied the 3-gate system religiously. Last month, her company faced a massive crisis. Everyone was panicking. Everyone was in beta. But Sarah sat in the boardroom, completely calm. Because she was in theta, she downloaded a strategy that no one else could see. She saved the company millions. She was promoted not because she worked harder, but because she was the only one with a clear signal. This is the promise of Isaiah chapter 30 verse 21. It says, "And your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, This is the way, walk in it." Notice the direction. The voice is behind you. It is not out there in the future. It is already in your spirit, waiting for you to quiet the noise enough to hear it. Sarah heard it because she tuned out the jamming. You have that same capacity. You were chosen for this. Now, we are going to seal this. This is the activation ceremony. I know you might be driving, or lying in bed, or sitting at your desk. You do not need to move a muscle. I want you to perform a spiritual action right now. Visualize a pillar of white fire surrounding you, cutting you off from the noise of the world. In your mind, place your hand over your heart. We are going to lock this frequency in. I declare by the authority of the living God that the impossible frequency is now your permanent residence. I rebuke the spirit of jamming. I break the addiction to the beta state. I command the chaos in your mind to bow to the peace of God. You are no longer a victim of the noise. You are a broadcaster of the peace. I seal your mind against the attacks of the enemy. I seal your ears to hear the frequency of heaven. I seal your spirit to carry this voltage without burning out. God is asking you a question right now. Will you be my vessel? Will you carry this signal into the darkness? If your answer is yes, I want you to say yes in your spirit right now. Scream it in your soul. Yes, it is done. The upgrade is complete. The signal is clear. You are activated. Now go.